Dwayne, I suppose the best place to start is with Ken's announcement yesterday. First chance for you to sort of reflect on the decision and what he's done in his career and his legacy.
Well, I think reflecting on the decision is obviously, I think it's the right decision for Ken at this time. I think we all know it's been a long couple of months in terms of trying to work back to fitness, and I think that, I think he's reached a point where, medically, obviously, he's not able to continue. And I think for myself, when you think about Ken Owens, you think of, I personally think he's one of the greatest Scarlets. That's where I honestly think I hold him in that high regard. I think that I played during his start of his career then. And I think, he came in at the time, he was explosive, always been an explosive player. But he had a real attitude to be a winner. And I think that, he's one guy who's worn his heart on his sleeve, and I think he's represented this club or our club in the best fashion. I think that, fantastic, obviously a fantastic rugby player, competitor. I think leadership, and I think what he's done for the club in terms of representation, both on the field but off the field as well. I think he's always been a proud Scarlet, proud West Walian, and I think that he can be really pleased and really proud of what he's achieved. I think and so can the club, and so obviously his family, etc. Sad day obviously for his retirement, but I think you've got to be, for him, content that he's been, he's worn his shirt, and he's obviously worn the Wales shirt with immense pride, and I think that he's been an outstanding ambassador for us.
Talent aside, the attributes that come to mind, the bloody-mindedness, passion, proud Scarlet Welshman, and so on. He's been on the canvas so many times in terms of his injuries, and Dwayne has proved so many people wrong, coming back time and time again. We thought he was going to come back. That's why everybody thought he was going to come back again.
Yeah, definitely. Look, there's only so many times you can, I think, take those hits and keep going. But what I would say in terms of his tenacity is competitiveness. I think that's probably what stands out for me. I think he's a real competitor. He's obviously a really very talented rugby player, and but I think he's his ability to front up, and his ability to carry the team, in terms of mentality. And I think that we can be proud of, he, as I said, proud Welshman, and I'm sure that he'll be sorely missed for us.
Just picking up on what you said, I think Phil Bennett captained the Llanelli side for 6 seasons. Ken's done it for 7, so he's spoken about in the upper echelons of the legends that have gone before.
I put him right in the mix of those guys. There's no doubt to me, as I mentioned that earlier, I think he's one of the greatest guys, I think, because of what he delivered on the field, and I think, 90 odd caps for Wales, and I think that he, he's been a great ambassador for the club as well.
Is there a place for him? I mean, he's such a figure in the game. It would be sad that he's lost to the game in future.
100%. I think that whatever he decides to do next, I think I'm sure he'll be a success at it. Whether that's hopefully that stays within the game. I'm sure he, as I said, he's got a lot to offer, and I think that. But I think the important thing for him now is, it's obviously a difficult time when you retire, and I'm sure that the decision that's been made now wouldn't have been the way he wanted to go out. So I think it's time that he reflects on what he's achieved, take his time to think about the next steps really, and move on from there. I think that the big thing for him now is to, as I said, to get to grips with that, and whatever he decides to do next, then I'm sure everyone will fully support him. But I think that for us as a region, a club, if it's with us, if it's with rugby in general, I think that it'll be. He'll be a great asset wherever he goes.
I'll leave others that will probably want to speak about Ken, but in terms of the season now, there's been a bit of a break, isn't there, since your last game. From your point of view, Dwayne, the last two probably summed up your season in terms of frustration, winning one and then going down the next. Yeah,
I think that obviously we're pretty disappointed with the performance of the last game, really. I think that we came into the Glasgow game off the back of a tough, well fought win against Benetton, I felt, and I think that for ourselves we felt, especially second half, that we dropped off the pace a bit, and for us now, there's an opportunity this week to go to Scotland and put that right. I think we've had a bit of a break, we've had a bit of a reflection of the last game, and looking forward to the next couple of weeks, because I think that obviously there's 5 games of the season to go, and for us it's about an opportunity for some guys, from young guys, I suppose, to put their hands up. But it's also an opportunity for us as a club to show some momentum or show some fight, and that's what we want to do, And I think that this week poses that opportunity for us to go to Edinburgh, and be competitive. We know that Edinburgh are a good side. But we feel like if we get our form right and we can hit the ground running a bit, I think that we want to go there and compete. Just a few housekeeping questions. Taine Plumtree, is he on the right track? Yeah, he's available this week. Right, which obviously goes without saying, a huge boost. It's been so unfortunate for him and yourselves that he's been out so long. Yeah, look, I'm delighted he's back, because I think he was a good big signing for us in the summer, and I think we showed glimpses of what he is capable of, albeit I think the first couple of weeks he was carrying that injury and we probably didn't see the best of him. So I think for him to be back in the fold, for us and for him, I think is big. And he's just an example of a real positive angle of what we got to look forward to in the over the next couple of seasons. I think that he's one player we haven't seen any much of this year. Very exciting player, and look forward to getting him in the fold. I think Sam Costello coming back as well, hasn't played much rugby for us, so I think there's 2 of those guys will give us a big boost, I'm sure, going into the next couple of games. Can I just ask you about Jonathan Davis? He's been given a testimonial, and on social media he's billed it as a farewell tour. Can you give any clarity as regards to his presence or non-presence next year? In terms of clarity, I think for John, obviously, a testimonial is obviously well deserved from his perspective. I think he's been again an outstanding Scarlet, British Lion, and those for John, whether he's here next year or not, I think we can be really proud of what he has achieved and what he's given this shirt. And I wish him all the best in his testimonial, really, next coming season. Whether he'll be with us or not, Kenneth, we'll decide over the next couple of weeks, really. So no decision on that yet, as yet. Not as of yet, no. Just a quick one. I mean, do you sort of, I won't use the term give up, but despair when you see Geordie Barrett's name appearing on the Leinster roster for 6 months? It's obviously it was pretty shocking news when I read it. I thought, bloody hell, that's an outstanding signing, really, and but that's where we are at the minute. I think that he's obviously for Leinster, he's a fantastic signing for the league and the URC. He's obviously a big name, but it's the way we are. It's where we are at the minute. I think that these things are, obviously. I can't comment on Leinster's dealings. They've done a fantastic job in getting him, and best of luck to them at the end of the day. Cheers, Dwayne. I'll leave for everybody else. Diolch. Owen. Diolch.
How are you doing? How are you?
Hey, Steph, Jam.
Yeah, good, thanks. Just on the housekeeping, is Josh McLeod nearing a return?
No, he'll be next season.
Okay. Jara Taylor?
Nearing a return. Yeah.
Okay. In terms of Taine Plumtree, obviously, as you said, he's a very good player. What exactly do you think he's going to bring to the pack that perhaps you've been sort of missing for the last few months?
Well, what we signed him for, I think he's a real athlete to start. I think that obviously he's a young man, so he hasn't played that much rugby, to be honest with you. But I think that he will bring real athleticism. He's a skillful player, dynamism, etc. And I think that's exactly what you'll get from him. He's put a bit of weight on since he got injured as well, which will help, I think, and I think that he's an excited talent. I think that he's got a long way to go, and I think he's got a lot, plenty to learn as well. But I'm excited to get him back in the pack. He's obviously tall and athletic, so from a set piece perspective, he gives you options and opportunity there. So look, I'm excited he's back. He's a high quality player. So it'll be good to have him in the mix, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's the first time we've spoken to you since Sam Lowsey was announced as staying. I was seeing a big boost because I would have thought there'd been a few clubs interested in him.
Yeah, there was, and obviously, as you said, I'm delighted that he is staying. I think he's one player for us who was a bit of a talisman, and when he's on the field, I think he's he's quietly spoken off the field, but when he needs to communicate off, he's very good, and everyone respects him, and what he does on the field for us is excellent. I think he's a different type of lock in many ways. He's a rugby playing lock, and he's from a rugby league background, and sometimes you can see that in his game, where he likes to play the game with offloading game, etc., and play the game tall, which is probably unconventional to other locks, I think. And I think that, but he's a real athlete, and I think that I know when he's in the side, we've got opportunity to he creates things, and he works really hard. So I think that and bottom line, he enjoys it here. I think that's probably where the ceiling thing for us was. He's really happy at the club, and the environment, etc. And so to get him to want to stay, because I know there would have been interest, is great for us and for us as a club, and I think him leading these next group of players and this next generation. We've got good young forwards coming through the system, and they will be coming into the squad next year. And I think for him being an experienced member who can guide and lead those guys will be excellent.
Yeah, just finally, there was a report on the weekend that the Scarlets might look to sell via Fafita. What is the latest on that? Is he somebody that you want to keep at the club next season? Well,
yeah, obviously Via's under contract, so and that's where we are at the minute. Obviously there's going to be interest in people like Via Fafita, because he's he's an athletic 6'8" lock, really. So there's going to be interest from clubs. I get that, but for us, we've there was a lot of talk that Sam Lowsey was going to leave the club, and that didn't happen. So that's where I'm at with it, Steph.
Great, thanks, Dwayne, and good luck in the weekend.
Thank you.
Hi, Dwayne. Simon here. Can you hear me okay?
Simon, yeah, good. Thanks, Simon.
Yeah, just one very quick follow-up on I've asked you about Plumtree there. I mean, we've obviously not seen that much of him because of the injury situation. You've watched him in training, you've seen him play. We know he's versatile, but what do you think is kind of his best long-term position? Is he a six?
Six.
What do you see him
six, as? I see him as, yeah. I think six is his best position as it stands. Whether he, as we grow and unfold, I think he's got the ability. I know Wales trialled him a bit at 8 as well. Yeah. But I think 6'8", I think 6 is a good position for him. He's athletic, he's rangy, he's quick. I think that the challenge, I suppose, for him is I think he's a good edge player. And with the Blues and the Super Rugby in Wellington, used him as an edge player as well, and I think he's really really athletic in that area. I think getting him on the ball more for us in the middle of the field will be important as well, because you want athletes like that on the ball, and for us as a club, and I suppose for Welsh rugby in general, you need good ball carriers in the middle of the field that can break line and break gain line, and I think that's where we lose him.
It's a timely return for him. Be up against his dad's team next week. That'll be a nice reunion for him.
Yeah, I'm sure his dad's looking forward to that. I'm sure he is as well. But no, I'm delighted he's back. Really, obviously, a bit disjointed season for him, and we can actually finally look forward to hopefully him putting a run of games together, and seeing the best and helping him develop, I suppose.
Lovely. All the best of the weekend. Thanks for your time, Dwayne.
Same. Thanks.
Anyone else in English?
Dwayne, can I just ask a couple of questions about the game on the weekend? It's Jamie here up in Glasgow. I'm doing the TV commentary.
No problem.
It was Premier, although I'm probably going to call them Viaplay 10 times on air by mistake this weekend with the changeover. Just with the break-in fixtures that you've had, Dwayne, what has that allowed you to focus on from a technical point of view, a tactical point of view? Have you been able to drill into some additional detail and figure out what you might want to improve and change as we look towards the final few games? Yeah,
definitely. I think, look, we brought Welsh internationals back for the first game against Benetton. So we gave them a good break after, because they hadn't much downtime post Six Nations really, and so we had a week where we took a step back and reflected a bit. I think we were pretty hurt after the Glasgow performance, in all honesty, Jamie. I think that it wasn't the result that we wanted, obviously. So I think it's we've managed to get back on the training field, had some good training sessions, put some things, as you said, we worked on, and also look towards the end of the season now, because the season isn't done by a long way for us. So there's 5 games to go. We want to climb as much as we can in this league, and the performances will allow us to do that, on the process of performance. And I think that we focused on that. Proud bunch. We're a proud bunch here, and I think that I think having a few guys back from injury, etc., as well, will boost the group.
Yeah. When I look through the stats and prep this week, it's clear you're a team that's always liked to keep the ball in hand, and that has been a feature of Scarlets Rugby for many seasons. I think across the URC, you're the team that kicks from hand the fewest, but haven't been able to build scores and points and turn the pressure you've had with ball in hand into the points and victories that perhaps you feel you deserve. How do you go about making more of that possession when you're not kicking so much from hand as a team like Edinburgh do?
That's a fantastic question, actually, because that's probably where we've been at the last couple of weeks in terms of a coaching group, and I know talking about execution. And I think that we probably haven't executed as much as we'd have liked. We probably haven't kicked as much as we'd have liked at times as well, in all honesty, because I think that if you look at when we're at our best, and I think you mentioned obviously the way we want to play, I think transition and turnover and open field play is important. You do that, you create that by, I suppose, sometimes getting into kick battle. So I think it's for us, I think it's a case of we've got to be better at execution. I think that we've probably created some opportunities and not executed, and some of that is down to us taking the right options, but some of it also gets a bit of momentum as well, and I think that we won't hide from that fact. Momentum probably hasn't been on our side, and I think that I think freeing the mind a bit and just going out and playing is sometimes a good way to go about it when you are in that sort of vein of form. Sometimes you search for detail and you search for questions and etc. But back with good players. Let's back ourselves to make the decisions and go and play, because that's what we want to be as a group. That's what the fans want to see, and I think for us as a club, that's what we're good at. So that's the way we want to approach it. We want to fight and compete, but we want to be free to go and express ourselves, I suppose.
Yeah. And just lastly, Dwayne, it's been announced recently there's going to be some change off the field in terms of appointments being made, the structure of the club being tweaked a bit, and some people coming in to support you in your role. What do you want to get out of that? How is that going to benefit the organisation? And maybe, I look at a guy like Mike Blair here in Edinburgh, who was probably, as a younger head coach, pulled in too many directions, and maybe didn't have that overarching support of a DOR, somebody to help with contracting and recruitment and things.
Is that where you feel you're best placed on the training pitch? You obviously have a say in these decisions and are instrumental in them, but in terms of your biggest strength, do you want to be a technical coach and the stuff round about that's going to be changing will help you focus more on that?
Yeah, definitely. I think firstly, I'm really supportive of the appointments and I think that what we need is a person who's going to drive the club forward as well, and I think that it'll allow me to focus on the team and coaching, which is what I love to do. That's the truth of it, I love to be on the field, I love to drive the rugby side of things, and that's what that's where I feel my strength is. So, yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. I think that there's obviously it's a very important position to be filled for us. I think it's important that we get the right guy, that one that can really drive the club and help drive the club forward, because there's so much hard work going on here, and I think that the future for us. We've got some really good quality youngsters coming through, within our pathway, and I think it's important that we get the environment right for them to be able to thrive. Because, yes, we're in a state of a bit of transition at the minute, and that's plain for everyone to see that. But I think that for us, we want to compete, and I think that we've got some good quality youngsters. So a lot of good hard work going on. So getting the right person to be able to drive that is important to get that environment right, as I said.
I know it's early days and it's obviously not your call around the process, but is there any indication of when that appointment might be made or how far along the club are with that?
No, look, I think the process is ongoing at the minute, and I think that when we are in a position we feel like we've got the right guy, then we'll be able to make that call. I think, as I mentioned earlier, I think it is an important position, so there's no set deadline on it as such. We'll just work our way through it and make sure that we get the right person.
So, man, thanks for your time, Dwayne. We'll see you the weekend.
Thank you.
Dwayne, y tro cyntaf chi wedi cael cyfle ers gyhoeddiad Ken Owens I ymddeol o'r gamp ddo. Beth yw'r ymateb, beth ydych chi'n dymuno dweud am ei gyfraniad e?
Wel, I fod yn onest, mae wedi bod yn fraint I fod yn rhan o'i gyrfa fe, achos mae fe wedi bod yn siwrd dyn allweddol a adnabyddus I ni fel Scarlets, chybod. O'n i'n ffodus bod fi yn y garfa am sdychriodd e chwarae, lle chi'n gweld straight away oedd fe rwy naws o bwynt I fe bod e'n mynd I fod yn chwaraewr dda, oedd e'n gryf, oedd e'n gorfforol, oedd awch dy fe I gystadlu, a na beth felly bydde sy'n I arfor e fe bod e'n cystadleuwr ar y ca. A bod e'n person sy'n wedi arwen o'r blaen, a fi credu bod hwnna'n yw'r peth mwyaf allan I gweud y bwyty fe. Mae wedi bod yn arweinwr a mae wedi bod yn browd iawn o wisgo'r Crys.
Efe y gair angerdd I ni'n cysylltu gyda Ken yn ymal. Efe na beth sydd wedi gwneud yn wahanol falle I lot o chreuwyr eraill, oherwydd mae'n dalentog, ond mae hynny'n rhoi gymaint yn fwy, a ni'n gweld hynny yn ei gymeriad ar y ca ac oddi ar y ca.
Bendant. Fi'n credu bod angerdd yw'r gair o'n i'n falle edrych am yn yr ateb gyntaf I fel oes chi, achos mae fe wedi bod yn chwaraewr sydd wedi dangos angerdd, a mae wedi bod yn cystadleuwr mwyaf, a fi credu bod mae wastad wedi bod yn dalentog yn rygbi, falle bod fel athletwr, falle bod bydde fe'n siarad unan, mae wedi gweithio mor galed am y gyllu, gyda fel stwff oddi ar y ca, fel y gym ag ati fel la, ond falle dyna beth oddi hoff beth sy'n llwaith chi'n gweld lot o chwaraewyr fel la sy'n ffodus iawn a hoffi'r ochr yna o'r gêm I Ken y cystadlu ar y ca, cystadlu fel chwaraewr rygbi oedd y peth mwyaf pwysig, a mae wedi bod yn Wel, mae wedi bod yn Scarlet, un o'r Scarlets gorau, chybod, yn y oes ni.
A oedd yna siom yn ei lais ddo pan nath wneud y cyhoeddiad, oherwydd oedd yn dymuno cario ymlaen, a dwi'n credu oedd nifer fawr yn meddwl fydde fe'n dod nôl, achos mae wedi cael sawl ergyd o ran anafiadau yn y blynyddoedd diwetha.
Fi'n credu oedd e'n benda moyn dod nôl. chybod, dim wedi hyd yn oed y tymor hyn, felly oedd yn edrych ar tymor nesaf hefyd. Ond, mae wedi cael sawl ergyd, fel wedi sy'n wedi yn y blynyddoedd diwetha, fi credu bod hwn wedi bod yn un ergyd, felly oedd ddim gallu dod drosto, chybod, y peth pwysig nawr yw bod e'n iach, a bod e'n gallu byw i fywyd fel mae fe moyn, a hefyd cymryd bach y seibiant oddi ar y gêm, i cael chybod, felly, i edrych ar pethach yn gywir, achos fi credu bod lot o fe offro y cynnig y gêm de. Fi credu bod, naill bod gyda ni fel Scarlets, byddwn ni'n brili bod e'n rhan o'n clwb ni yn rwy fath, ond rygbi yn gyffredinol, rygbi cymunedol, rygbi Cymru, ty beth yw i bath yn tro o hyn mlaen. Fi credu bod e'n mynd i fod yn talentog, a mae'n mynd i fod yn rhan bwysig o ty le mae fe'n mynd.
Yn cyd-destun Scarlets a Llanelli, sydd fydd e'n cael ei gofio, ble fydd e'n cael ei osod?
Fi'n credu bod e reit lan y top. Fi'n bod enwogion y clwb hyn, pobl fel Phil Bennett, Dwayne Owens, y Quinnells, y Gatti, fi credu Delmis, fi credu bod Ken reit lan gyda nhw, i fod yn onest. Oherwydd fi credu bod e wedi cynnig siwr gwmynt, a mae wedi wisgo'r Cris gyda balchder. A fi credu bod e wedi bod yn chwaraewr arbennig, ond hefyd mae wedi bod yn arweinwr arbennig oddi ar y ca.
O ti'n diplomatic iawn, o ti wedi gadael enw dimas fyna hefyd, ond teg i ti. O ran y tymor nawr, Dwayne, beth ti'n edrych arni gan ddechrau gyda Caredin?
Mae lot o rygbi war, mae 5 gêm i fynd. Mae Caredin yn cyfle ni i dangos beth, dangos awch, felly os i fod yn onest gyda'n gilydd, fi credu ail hynny'r erbyn Glasgow, felly cwmpani off y gêm tymor bach. Fi credu bod yn bwysig bod ni fynd nôl a cystadlu yn frwd yn erbyn Caredin, gollon ni yn erbyn nhw cwbl o wythnosau nôl. So mae'n gêm fawr i ni i dangos bach o bach der awch, really. A wedyn mae performer boes di gweithio'n rili galed dros y 2 pythefnos diwetha. Ni moyn mynd mas yn dangos beth ni'n gallu gwneud, ni moyn chwarae gyda lledu'r bel, a ni moyn chwarae gyda awch a dwyster, a fi credu na beth bydd yn nod.
Mae Taine Plumtree nôl, mae ni'n hwb o'r ffreswm.
Odi, barch i cael ei nôl, mae wedi bod yn chwaraewr sy'n amlwg wedi bod yn eisiau gyda ni dros y flwyddyn diwetha, a mae'n bles iawn bod e'n nôl yn y garfan.
Just cyn cloi, ail strwythuro sy'n yn barod i cael ei gyhoeddi fydd yn digwydd rhyw bryd. Beth yw dy dimlad i ynglyn â hynny, a odi hynny yn helpu dy gryfderau di fel hyfforddwr?
Odi fi, mae'n bendant bod yn helpu'n gryfderau i, fel i fi moyn fod ar ca, bod gwmwynt o fi gallu chybod a canolbwyntio ar y tîm a fforddi'r tîm, a nale fi credu mae'n gryfder i. Yn amlwg mae lot fwy dy fi wneud oddi ar y ca, ond mae'r cael y person iawn yn bwysig iawn, a mae cael y person sy'n mynd i gyrru'r clwb hyn a gyrru'r clwb mewn i'r dyfodol, oherwydd mae lot o talent yn dod trwyddo gyda ni, mae lot o boes ifanc dda gyda ni, a mae lot o gwaith caled yn cael ei wneud yma. So felly, mae'n rhaid i fod yn optimistig o'r dyfodol.